DeKeither, but thank you all for tuning in to Talk of the Town. We're going to have a good time tonight. This is Friday, April 21st, edition of Talk of the Town. And because we have quite a few guests, we're going to go ahead and get started right on. You know, a lot of times we don't get to tell about the positive things going on in our community because we're looking for so much negative. And there are some things going on in our community we need to handle, we need to firm up on, people want to know about. But it's also some good things that we need to know about. And so we're going to start off the show this evening with a young lady who is commonly referred to as Coach Janelle. In fact, my two girls call her Coach Janelle because that is the first tennis lesson that they ever have. And she is always in the community doing wonderful things. And she has something else wonderful that she's going to tell us about tonight. And Coach Janelle, I'm going to let you have it.
Well, thank you, Crystal. Calling all children and youth in the Jackson metro area, ages 8 through 18. The John Maxwell team presents the Global Youth Initiative Week. This is a youth conference, leadership conference for all kids ages 8 through 18 years old. Parents, please bring your children. You know, today youth face many challenges, struggles with confidence, fear of failure, and bullying. As parents and teachers and leaders, we can do something about it. You and your youth are invited to participate in a world-changing youth movement that would empower youth to be the change they wish to see the world. The John Maxwell team presents the Global Youth Initiative Week. And this conference will take place this Saturday at the Church Triumphant Global in North Jackson on Dogwood View Parkway. That's 6531 Dogwood View Parkway in Jackson, Mississippi at 39213. This event will take place from 2 o'clock till about 4:30. Parents, it is very important that we get our kids involved in something that's positive. And it's our job to grow up youth, okay? They can't do it on their own. That's where we need to be a part of it. Okay?
Okay, when you say be a part of it, tell us more about what the kids are going to experience at this event.
Okay, we will have John Maxwell leaders who will do presentations about having a positive self-image, respect themselves and others, be a positive influence, and fail forward towards success. With each one of those leaders coming forth, the children are just going to become so excited. And this will not end there. Shortly after this event, the parents will have an opportunity to let the children join Youth Max Jackson, where we form groups throughout the city and produce leaders.
Wonderful. I'm going to tell you, I saw this flyer come across my phone. And most of the time, I kind of ignore, you look at it, you ignore it, you pass it up. But this one right here, I had to stop and take a look at it because leadership, this youth leadership initiative is something that is so necessary in our communities. In order for our children to grow up and be able to someday lead us in this community, we have to show them the way. And events like this is where we get started. And so thank you so much for helping to host it. Is there anything else you need to tell everybody about this initiative? If they want to get involved, tell them who they can call or email.
Now you can go online and register at YouthMax, that's YOUTHMAX -imagineyou.eventbrite.com. I know that was a lot. However, you can call this telephone number and get more information as well. 601-376-9522. And the event is April 29th. That's next Saturday from 2 o'clock to 4:30. And thank you, Crystal, again for inviting me out. We're looking forward, and we're expecting over 500 youth to participate. And parents, we encourage you to join us as well.
Well, tell me this, and you may have already said it, but is there a cost?
No, it is absolutely free.
Now, you can't get any better than that, parents. Now, I got 4 kids, and if you know if you know, if anybody's like me, you looking for something to do with your kids, and it's absolutely free, and to help them grow up and be more responsible adults, this is awesome. Thank you, Coach Janelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know, I got to ask you, are you still coaching tennis, teaching tennis?
Yes, I am. We just started a new tennis program about a month ago. We started it out with just middle school kids, but now we have middle school and high school kids who are becoming a part of it. So if you're interested in taking tennis lessons, that's for adults and children, meet us at Battlefield Park each Saturday at from 11 o'clock to 1:30.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I look at Venus and Serena playing tennis, it gives me hope that, yes, I can have somebody in my family really learn how to play tennis for real. So thank you again, Coach Janelle, for coming out and telling us about this program starting April 29th, absolutely free, to help grow up our kids and teach them leadership skills.
Right, and if you don't register on the internet, we will allow you to register at the site as well. Just show up about 1:30.
All right. Thank you. And like I said, we got a little shaky start here tonight.
Not too shaky.
Michael Thomas, I'm going to have to get you back on this one. But now I finally have my co-host for the evening, Mr. Larry White.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, and thank you.
Yes, ma'am, no problem. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to be here. But before I go any further, I would like to say, Crystal, that we lost a former member of our football team at Jackson State a little over a week ago, Mr. James Patterson. I'd like to send condolences out to him and his family, and all the former teammates as well. He's from the Macon area.
Okay.
And we want to tell all those people up there we'll miss him, and we're praying for him, and we go with him all the way through times such as this. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Larry, for bringing that to our attention, and we will definitely keep the Patterson family in our prayers. Like I said, we got a full house tonight. Yes, we do. So we're gonna try to whip through this a little bit, and we talked about the fact that we're going to make an effort to go through and have a series of people come on related to these elections coming up May 2nd.
Right.
And I believe a lot of people are very aware of the mayoral candidates, or at least the major ones. Right. If you weren't before, you ought to be.
Everybody major now. This morning, everyone that's a mayoral candidate is major. Everyone.
You're absolutely right, but can you
Even
spat
on
out
the
to
other
me?
side
I was going to say, can you spat out to me the Republican candidates for mayor?
Well, yeah, look like we may have one in the presence with us tonight. So, I don't know.
I just happen to know Jason Wells or Lamario Wells,
Right.
but yeah,
Right.
I'm just saying. But we do, especially for our local races, particularly the city council races, we want to give everybody an opportunity to come, have their voices heard, and give the listening audience an opportunity to really hear from the candidates. And so we want to, I will tell you, we made an effort to reach out to every single person who is running for a city council position.
Right.
Every single one. Some people agreed to come and some people have not. And that's not saying, and I'm not trying to make it a judgment, but I just want everybody to know that everyone was invited. No one was excluded. And so here tonight, we're going to allow some of the city council candidates to come and speak.
Right.
And our first one for tonight is Mr. Shabaka Harrison. Did I pronounce that right, Mr. Harrison?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah. Gold star for me.
Two of them.
Two, I get two.
Yes, two.
I'm sorry.
Well, Mr. Harrison, please say hello to the listening audience and let everyone know the office that you're running for.
Good evening. My name is Shabaka K. Harrison, and I'm running to be the next Ward 6 councilman. I'm a third generation Jacksonian where both my parents grew up in. Where my grandmother owned two businesses by Jackson State at the corner of Dalton and Lynch Streets, known as Ketchens Corner. I lived in Ward 6 for 16 years, where I graduated from Forest Hill back in 2008. I ran for this seat twice before, and it was unsuccessful. But with every defeat, I became a stronger person and a stronger candidate for this position. My faith grew when I joined High Ground Family Worship Center that's right there in Ward 6 to better understand the community. Living, commuting, and worshiping in this ward has driven me to run for this seat once again with a better understanding of this ward. I'm not here for games. I'm not here to run on my name. No, I'm not here to make promises that can be broken. I'm here to provide a clear path to solutions that I can serve you better, and you can, in return, serve this ward better.
Awesome. Well, let me tell you, I had no idea that you had run for office 2 times before.
Yes,
So this is your 3rd time?
Yes, ma'am.
And it definitely shows your perseverance and your care and concern for your community to run. So thank you for stepping up to the plate and attempting to do better in our community.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to tell me, why did you decide to run?
Well, I've been
Behind the scenes kind of person. You know what? I'm the same way.
Yes,
so I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those that like to step out and be out front. But so I can definitely identify with you there.
Back in 2013, back in 2014, when the Ward 6 Council seat opened, I ran for it, and like I said, it was unsuccessful, but I became good friends with the outgoing councilman, Tyrone Hendricks, during that time. And at that time, we were doing things where when I saw a problem, I could call him and he'll get to the city workers and they get it done. And the one thing I want to continue is his work. Because his work, he started the South Jackson Proud movement, and people were proud of that. And that South Jackson Proud made people happy about South Jackson, because South Jackson was so down upon back before then. But once we started talking about South Jackson Proud, people started looking at it better. And every year he got people in the community that go around the community and help clean up around Ward 6. And that's why I want to continue. We got to continue this work because we got to keep our South Jackson clean so we can get businesses come in and bring in a tax revenue.
All right. Well, that sounds like your platform, and because we do have so many people here tonight, tell everybody what they need to do if they want to get in touch with you or your campaign to help out.
You can reach me on my Facebook page. That's elect Shabaka K. Harrison. And you can message me now, and I will message you back right away.
Before you leave, Mr. Harrison, I have a question related to schools, education.
Yes, sir.
What is your feeling and what's your thoughts on charter schools?
I don't like them. I hate to be blunt, but yes, I don't like them because
Would you vote
it's a problem.
Would you vote for charter schools?
No, sir. It's a problem because when you look at what charter schools are for, which is for profit, it's a problem for us as a city, because when the charter schools opened here in Jackson, we have 2, and one is here in Ward 6. I didn't agree with it, and then now the state of Mississippi has allowed for JPS to pay for every student that stays in Jackson to go to charter schools. I don't like that. If the money got to be taken out of JPS, it should not be taken out, and that's how I feel.
Well, thank you for giving us your position on that, and
Exactly.
we appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you
Thank
so much,
Thank you.
and wish you a lot of luck in your bid. All right, we have another candidate for Ward 6 here, Mr. Punto Downing, and I've seen that name on the ballot several times. So, Mr. Downing, you have to come and tell us.
Puncho been on the ballot a lot of times for a good many years, nearly 30 years on Puncho.
Nine times.
Nine
Yeah,
times.
about
Has
20,
it all-
30 years, huh?
Yeah.
I know it. I know it was at least 30, 20.
1989, so that would be 28 years.
That's correct.
Okay, so what did you run for in 1989?
89, Ward 6. I was
Okay.
ironically, the Democratic nominee, and now I'm the Republican nominee. No opponent.
Oh, okay.
Life is strange.
All right, so again, you're running for Ward 6.
Mhm.
You are the Republican nominee.
Correct.
So on May 2nd, you won't have anybody else's name on the ballot except yours.
That's right.
Okay. And so for the general election, whoever wins the Democratic nomination will be on the ballot with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell the listening audience why you have run for Ward 6 councilperson.
Well, it would take too long to go into everything. I probably better answer questions rather than a long-winded dissertation. But first and foremost, I am a controversial Jew by blood Jesus freak.
Okay,
So
you have to explain what that means.
this is more than anything else is spiritual. Somebody says, well, you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. This is 2017. It's a high number, so we don't have time to mess around anymore. And I'm talking about rapture, eschatology, and all that stuff. And I'm
Okay.
a self-proclaimed expert on every field. I guess my claim to fame is in the 60s and the 70s, sports editor of the Clarion Ledger. I'm the guy who first covered Walter Payton.
All right.
Back in the good old
Sweetness.
days when Jackson would have 150,000 people, and somebody says you're making that up. No, 150,000 people in Memorial Stadium on one Saturday.
One Saturday,
Ole Miss in
150,000
the
people.
morning, J State in the afternoon, Mississippi State at night, a triple header with 150,000 people.
You think we ever get back to those days?
No, Jackson had money, and that's why I'm doing this. Unfortunately, and we've got some outstanding people here, but it's African American Democratic leadership, and that is a recipe for disaster. I hate to say this, but it looks like you are looking at the only hope for Jackson, an old white Republican.
So
And
what do
we-
you believe you can do single-handedly
Get a
as
check.
Ward 6 councilperson
Get a
to change
check.
things?
Get a check. I used to work in the governor's mansion back in the 60s. And this is a kind of a weird scenario. But every morning at 7 o'clock, there's the governor, at that time one-armed John Bell Williams, and he's having his coffee with a little Jack Daniels, and sitting across from him, drinking coffee and eating donuts, is Alan Thompson, the mayor of Jackson. You know, he's there every morning. They're on the same page. Do you think Tony Darber and Phil Bryant drink coffee, have lunch, converse? No, they don't.
So you're running for mayor or councilperson?
Well, I'm running for quasi-mayor.
Okay.
I think I can get, I wish I was in Ward 7. That's where all the money in the cloud is, but I think I can get it done from Ward 6.
Okay.
Now, 2 years, if I'm
Very
elected.
ambitious.
Well, he brings a valid point. I must agree with him. From a
Now I got to hear this.
from a governorship standpoint, you have to have a relationship, and we need to look at who has a relationship of the candidates that's running. And he brings a very valid point. That's very true, and I must agree with him. We need to look at who has a relationship with the governor that's running. That's very valid. That's very true, and that I wasn't around here, but I remember the names and heard of the names. But it is some truth to what he's saying.
Well, I would say I'm going to have to reserve comment on that one.
Well, I was here.
But thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
And if people want to help in your campaign or contact you for any reason, what do they need to do?
Easy to find. I'm very open and been in Jackson for 72 years. 220 Fox Meadows, which is the heart of Ward 6. The house has been in my family for 50 years. And I know I'm the right person to do it. I hope some people will take my remarks as not as like Donald Trump, so macho jerk, but I guess there's some element of that. But
Are you admitting that Donald Trump is a macho jerk?
yes. I guess I look like
Okay,
it.
you're on record of
Amazing.
saying that.
I know that's right. We did say that.
2017 is a high number. We've got to stop what we've been doing and get Jackson on the right road. It's going to take some checks to do that. And I'm going to find out who our friends are and what kind of support we can get from the folks with the checkbooks.
Well, thank you so
They look like me.
Okay.
How about that?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure meeting you after all these years. All right, like I said, we're gonna keep it rolling, Mr. White.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next guest is Mary Hatchett McClendon, and she's dressed so pretty. I love that jacket.
My mama wouldn't
Yeah.
have it any other way. She'll have a fit. Even on my radio, she still want me to be clean.
I heard that.
That's my mom.
Well, Miss McClendon, you have to tell us all about you. This is my first time meeting you. Have you ever run for office before?
I have not.
Okay.
This is my first time running for office, and believe me, when I was told to run, it was like, Lord, are you sure? You got the right one. Because it's like, this is more than just a notion. But I always tell people, because sometimes they say, this is a tough job. And please me, and don't be offended. But I've always thought that when it's too tough for the average man, it's just right for me.
Give me some.
Uh-huh.
That's woman power
Yeah.
right there.
Wait.
See, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to offend you.
I'm
but
not
that's the truth.
offended, but I came from a black woman, so I respect
Yeah,
the
so
black
you
woman.
know.
Thank you.
That's the first teacher, right?
Well,
The mama was the first teacher.
Well,
She-
I
And
respect
usually
the
the
black woman.
strongest
I do
teacher.
know that.
yeah,
That's from which I came.
yeah, we're strong women, and I'm one of the strong women. And I don't have the little mousy voice. I have a very strong voice because I'm a preacher. So my voice is a little raspy, but I'm not afraid of anything. I take on any challenge any day and expect to win.
Awesome. So you're running for Ward 4 City Council.
Ward 4 City Council, yes.
And the question that I ask everybody, what made you decide to run?
Well, it was tough now. I had some dreams, you know, and I'm like still saying, Lord, really? And then when a stranger comes up to me and says, when you going to do what God told you to do?
Oh,
and I
wow.
said, what? And they said, didn't God tell you to run for city council? I'm like, how do you know that? It was a
Wow.
stranger. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'll do it. I'll do it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm running for city council because I have the skills to do this job. It's not a hard job. It's just a matter of communication and leadership. Those
All right.
two things.
Okay, well tell us why you're the best person for
I'm
this
the best
job.
person for the reason why I'm the best person for the job is because I've always had this thing in me to get things done.
All right.
The thing that comes behind my name is when they say Mary, they say make it happen.
Mary, make it happen, Mary.
Mary, make it happen.
All
Mary.
right, I like
so
that.
I've done this for many years, and I've worked on many organizations where we've come out on top every time because I know how to get things done. I'm the mother of 4, the grandmother of 5, and great-grandmother of 1.
Okay, mother of 4, give me some more. All right.
All right,
So,
all
you
this
know,
girl power.
I have all these things going on, and I've been a part of a lot of different organizations, boys and girls. The Boys and Girls Club, I've been a part of that, being a person go there and speak with them and motivate them because I'm a motivational speaker as well.
Awesome.
And I've been in the ministry for over 30 years.
Tell us a little bit about your background. You said you've been in the ministry for over 30 years.
Over
You're a
30
pastor?
years.
Do you pastor a
Oh,
church?
never.
Okay.
Never. I know that's not my calling,
All right.
but I'm an evangelist. I travel around the world telling people about Jesus Christ and that
Awesome.
He is a Savior.
Awesome.
He is the Savior. So that's what I do. I've lived in my neighborhood, Willowwood, for over 30 years. I'm excited about being there. At one time I lived in one house and I got a divorce and had to move to another house. And I said, Lord, let me live in this neighborhood. Because I lived in Willowwood when Willowwood was 99.99999 other people.
I got you.
So and my children were the only ones in
That's
their
cool.
school in each room. And they always tried to make them feel good when they were there. But that's the way it was. And so I've been in Jackson all these years and I work for many major companies. I have my own company as well, McClendon Training and Development, where I teach development classes to different organizations to help move their company to this highest level.
Okay, awesome.
Mr.
So,
Clinton,
yeah.
I'm
Go
not
ahead,
trying-
Mr. White.
Yeah, I got my only question that I pose to any question, the only question I pose to any candidate that I speak to, which is, you spoke of education about your kids and coming up or whatever.
That's why
But
we
my
do what we
question,
do.
right, my question to you is, what's your thoughts and what's your feeling on charter schools?
Okay, let me tell you this. I've worked in Jackson Public School for like 9 to 10 years. And I've seen what has happened to our children. I've seen that, and I hope the teachers don't get mad at me, but even when they came to me, they thought that I was a retired teacher, and I'm not. I have a God-given gift to teach. That's why I have the business that I have. But the thing about it is that I have some friends in other states, and they have charter schools and they're working. Now, I know everybody say, oh, we're not for charter school, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. But if you find something that's working, why not incorporate it somewhere else? People always say they're always afraid of what they don't know. And so when people don't know stuff, then yeah, they're going to say, no, I'm not for this, not for that. But if you find something that's working, why not incorporate that? I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I'll modify a wheel, but I ain't reinventing one. So if something is working well somewhere else, and they can show us how it's working, and it's helping their students, why not bring it to Mississippi?
So if public schools are working well somewhere else, then it means we could just go and do what they're doing and improve our public
Yeah,
schools.
why not?
Okay.
Why not bring it to us? I mean,
What would be your first order of business if you were elected Ward 4 councilperson?
the first order of business would be to look at everything and see why it takes so long to get things done. I just don't like it when it takes so long to get things done. Now, there's a reason why God made men and women. We need each other. And I believe if we had a mixture on the city council, we probably can get more things done. But they have so many. I mean, just, you know, my friend already told me don't talk about the streets. But I'm just surprised to see that all of a sudden, the bottleneck is now wide open and we're getting more streets done, which is wonderful now because, you know, I drive a nice car and I don't want it bumping and hitting these holes. I hit one the other day because I was on the street that I was not familiar with at night. And they shouldn't have. I shouldn't have gone. I shouldn't have gone.
That's the recipe for disaster around
Yes.
here.
And so my car hit it and it's going to Heron Gear next week. And if something is wrong with it, I'm going to file a claim.
Okay.
But the thing about it is that we have ordinances, like my friend has told me, we have ordinances and things already in place. Let's look at those things and see how we can better those things for the city of Jackson. The thing about people is that I know that sometimes we say we want to talk about other issues and everything, but when you're talking to people, they want to know, what are you going to do about those streets? That's the first thing they want to know. What are you going to do about the streets?
So you're going to do something about the streets. Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to follow every street that I put in. I called down to the city the other day, and they told me that they're going to give the city council more control over the streets.
Oh, wow.
Which streets get paid and all that, so I'm
That's
excited
going to be
about
real
that.
interesting.
So, you know, I want people to have I want them to feel good about living in Jackson.
Okay.
You see, I want you to know that I'm not a lifesaver.
All right.
You see,
All right.
I didn't want to know that.
Miss McClendon.
See, I'm not a lifesaver.
Right.
I'm a life builder.
Life builder.
You see, a
All right.
lifesaver, when the job is done, they go home.
Okay.
Miss
But a life
McClendon.
builder is always working.
Right. Ms. McClendon, I had one more question before
Okay.
we go to our next candidate. It's along the same line of education
Okay.
and charter school. What is the one thing that you think can improve JPS?
The one thing that can improve it, JPS, is getting the right leaders. The thing about it is that once we get a leader that cares, maybe the person does care, but not showing that they care. I think JPS is top heavy. I think
Okay.
they are. You know, I think they need to
I've heard that
find some
before.
places where they can cut some money. I know everybody needs their money now. Believe me, I know that. I like to make money myself.
Okay.
But the thing about it is that we need to find out where we can channel money into other places to help our children do better. Now, the other thing that I talked about, and I talked about it before because I am a minister, is that we have a church on every corner. Sometimes we have 2 in one block, 2 and 3 in one block.
6.
No, okay, 6 in one block. And we got all these churches. What is their role for the community? They're in the community. They're there for a reason. They should be helping us with the children. It takes a village. So what is the church doing? And back in the day, the churches were involved. They made things happen. That's where they had all the NAACP meetings and all those different meetings and secret meetings. They were held at the church. So where's the church now? Building their own empire instead of building something that's going to help this community.
Right.
And I think they need to do more.
Well, thank you so very much for coming.
Yes, and if somebody wanted to work on your campaign or
yes.
reach your campaign,
They can
what do
call
they
me.
need to do?
Oh, they can call me anytime. And that's the other thing I told the people. I said, you can have my cell phone number anytime and call me anytime. I will come.
Okay.
I
Did you
will.
want to leave your number or
My
Facebook
telephone
page?
number is 601-942-2154. Call me anytime. Anything you want to talk about, anything you think I should be able to handle when I first get into office, let me know what that is. I'm ready to roll.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come.
thank you
It was
for
a
the
pleasure
invitation.
getting to know you. And maybe we'll see you on the scene a little bit more around
You
here.
will? I just think it's time for Jackson to rise and shine. We've been in the dust too long.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. We counted on down.
Yeah.
And you know, Miss McClendon, she brought up a whole bunch of questions. And we got a person right here who may be able to answer a couple of them.
Some of them,
Just a
anyway.
couple. 1 or 2. We have the And let's see, I can't keep up with the positions now, but I know at one point in time we were president of the city council.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. DeKeither Stamps.
Well, first off, thank you for the opportunity to come on Talk of the Town.
Thank you for
Every time that we get an invitation to come to Talk of the Town, I always appreciate it because y'all have a consistency over time of delivering the truth and helping people, you know, as y'all say, helping real people.
That's right. There you go. Real people helping real people.
Right. So I do appreciate for the hard work y'all do because this is a degree of public service in and of itself. The commitment to do it every Friday night, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. You also have a radio talk show, and I have to admit, I can't keep the days in mind, but you come weekly as well, and we appreciate the service that you give to the community as well, in addition to the radio show being a current city council person. And I just cannot imagine how much time that must take every well, I say every week, but it's more than every week for the problems.
It's an overtime job.
No doubt about it. It's a wonder you have time to do your paying job, huh? Well, thank you again for being here. You've been here a number of times, and I always appreciate how you are so willing to come out and share with people about what's going on down there at the city council. You're also one of the ones who, like you said, work overtime to make sure that we are adequately represented down at City Hall. And you're running for re-election, and I just want you to really come in your own way.
Well, first again, thank you for allowing me to come, and also I want to say, just take a moment to thank the citizens of Ward 4 for allowing us the opportunity to even be their council person for the last 4 years. I mean, when we ran last time, we had done research and things, we were excited, you know, but over the last 4 years, we've really been through a lot of ups and downs, and we've tried to be that stabilizing force, and that vocal force on the issues. No matter what the issues were, we always tried to make sure we stood with the people, whether it be standing against raising taxes or raising water sewer rates, or the airport, or the takeover of Jackson Public Schools, or just the myriad of different issues that we've faced over the last few years. You know, I just want to say I appreciate the folks at Ward 4 for standing behind us. You know, and we're constantly trying to get better and be more effective as we go. And this has been I've become a better man because of this experience, and it's really been a really good experience for me, and we just look forward to continuing to work because there's so many pressing issues on the table right now.
Absolutely.
This is a critical point in the city of Jackson's history, and we look forward to continuing to stand up to our responsibility for the moment that we're in the history of Jackson.
All right. I'm going to tell you one thing. I have to admit, I'm kind of guilty of this sometimes too. But I think a lot of times, the public, we get the role of the city council and the role of the mayor mixed up, kind of squished together. Those lines kind of blur every now and then.
Right.
And so sometimes we look at the condition of the city and we just want to blame everybody when it's something bad going on. And we don't look to see who has the role of the mayor, you know, what his role is and his administrative staff, and what the role of the city council members are. So if you, and I'm looking at your flyer here, and I'm looking at some of the things, it's very informative. You go down the list of some of the things that the city council has approved and the city council has opposed.
Well, that's some of the things that DeKeither has approved, has been for, and some things that we've opposed. The council may have approved some things that we opposed, but we felt like we were taking the right position.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. And one of the first things listed are budgets with furloughs.
Right, we never agreed with furloughs. We thought that was not the appropriate route to take. If you're going to raise taxes and then furlough folks, but take the proceeds from the tax money, and we, myself and Councilor Stokes, maneuvered to move those funds into a rainy day fund that we created for the city. So if you didn't need the money immediately, why are you furloughing the people? Why don't you just do some assessments to see who's not working and get rid of the folks who are not working, lazy, and those types of things. Let's implement some things where people could allow themselves to be dismissed. You know, like an annual physical fitness test for police and fire department. And then let the qualified people rise to the top, and you can assess right? Let's do a constant assessment of our employee base to see who's working, who's not, who's effective, who's not. And now everybody knows they fire themselves. I don't have to fire you. Your productivity, whether it be customer service or your academics within your profession or your skill sets, will fire you. And
that is an interesting concept, and especially in government, I think we get kind of comfortable from time to time, and we don't always perform those personnel evaluations the way we're supposed to according to the handbook. And one or two things that happen, like you said, you either fire yourself or you get increased productivity.
That's right. Either way, the city still wins.
That's a good point.
If the employee's productivity goes up, the city wins. If the employee fires themselves, now the city wins, but we get to go find somebody else who needs gainful employment to move the city forward.
And another big issue, and it's so many, I know you really know, but these water bills. Last month, I got a water bill that said $2,189. And I would give the city credit. I called down there and was able to get it corrected, I think. But that has been a huge issue.
Right. And, we've been opposing the Siemens deal. We campaigned on it last time. We even launched an investigation, and I'm ready to sue Siemens. And I know it doesn't matter to me if some people we know and love may get in trouble by it because they shouldn't have took some actions that they took. So, there's a responsibility in this, whether you were an elected official or someone in the private sector. If you did something wrong, you need to be held accountable for it. But then also, the people are hurting. And the people didn't do anything to deserve the treatment they're getting because of this contract.
Okay. And we've also had issues with infrastructure. There were planned times that we knew the water was going to be out. And I guess we met expectations or exceeded expectations in some areas, but I will say in other areas we may have failed.
Well, it's going to be a long time before that turns the ship around. And we're going to commit to a long-term process. My only ask for each of these mayoral candidates who are running now is a long-term commitment. Because it's going to take stable leadership. It's going to take, people who are committed to this and department heads who are in place for multiple administrations. So, that's what I'm championing for is no matter who you choose as mayor, as a people, let's choose somebody that we're going to have for at least 3 terms so we can stabilize and rebuild these different departments.
In your assessment as the current city council person, has there been a good working relationship with the current mayor's office and the current city council?
Well, we work well together. I think people may see issues where we disagree, and I think that's only about 5% of the time. But that's what makes the news. That's what goes forward. But we vote on hundreds of issues a week, or every 2 weeks when it's a council meeting, and we agree on mostly everything. It's just the 1 or 2 issues every couple of months where you go back and forth on something, and it's basically because of how to get there. We agree on what to do, but just how to do it. Me personally, I think that to increase the revenue, we should enforce residency. There's no stable neighborhood in this city that doesn't have retired police officers, firefighters, teachers, principals, and so forth, in any stable neighborhood that you see. And so if we're going to rebuild neighborhoods, we're going to have to make those tough decisions to rebuild them with the same pattern and framework as rebuilt neighborhoods from the beginning.
And in your assessment, what is that?
Well, we got JPS has 3,500 employees that live outside the city.
So you know how many employees currently live outside. So why not go to that employee and say, dear sir, dear madam, you don't meet the residency requirement?
Well, there's no residency requirement.
Okay, so you all did.
For the city, we have 635 employees that live outside the city. We pay them roughly $22 million. Okay. So when you add the $21 million for the city, plus the $71 million from JPS, that means this tax base in Jackson is paying $92 million to salaries to people to go deposit somewhere else, and you wonder why you broke.
Well, I remember one of the first shows I did. The mayor came on to the show. I think setting the show, and Mr. White is sitting in. And one of the things that he stated was there was a residency requirement, that the city council had voted on a residency requirement for the city of Jackson.
Right.
And they were going to enforce it. It was going to make a difference. So tell me, what happened?
They didn't enforce it. That's what happened, But we have to enforce these things now.
What didn't
We're
happen?
not going to comfortably fix Jackson. It's going to be situations and things that are going to make us uncomfortable to fix this city. And that's uncomfortable, right? That's uncomfortable to a degree, but to me it's comfortable, but to other people it's uncomfortable, right? So in order to fix this city, there's going to have to be an investment, a commitment of folks. You're all in. When I was born in Sunset Apartments.
Okay.
And when I went to McLeod Elementary School, the governor's granddaughter was in my class. Now, how is a kid from Sunset Apartments?
Wait. You have to back up.
Interesting.
The governor's
Right.
granddaughter.
Right, was in my first grade class. in
Wow.
McLeod.
What's McLeod? All right.
So now, how did that happen, right? That's because their family.
It didn't happen through charter schools.
Didn't happen through charter
No.
schools. That's a commitment that family was in for public schools. Now, if the governor's granddaughter was in public schools with a kid, with a child from where I was from.
And this is after the 50s. This is after
Yeah,
Brown versus Board of
this is
Education.
This is the early 80s. This is
Yeah.
like 82. Right? So
Late
how is
70s.
that possible? That's because that family was in a political structure that said that everyone will be in public schools. Everyone will live in the city.
Wow.
Okay?
That is a great point.
Right? So if the power structure commanded that then, why can't this power structure command and demand that everyone's all in?
Right.
If you want a piece of
That's my
pie,
point.
if you want to be a high-paid lawyer in the city, the culture must demand that you commit to public schools.
Right. I
That's a
agree
good
totally.
point.
And before you even answer your
Very
question,
good point.
Mr. White, about charter schools, I am diametrically opposed to charter schools.
So you the charter school question
Well,
man.
yeah.
Everybody knows that now.
Let me just give you
Right.
let me just give you a little reason why.
Right.
First off, during the late 40s, they figured out how to privatize the military. Then they figured out how to privatize the jail system. Then they said, well, how can we privatize and make New York Stock Exchange-based companies off of other parts of government? And that big pot of money was sitting there called public schools and education. So then they said, okay, well, if we get a charter school system, then we can in turn privatize and receive economic from public school dollars. So that's led to the proliferation of charter schools around the country, and that's what's here. There's no mistake that every charter school in this state is in the city of Jackson.
Right.
They're not. If charter schools are so good, why don't Madison have it?
That's right.
If charter schools are so
Clinton.
good, why don't
You
Clinton
got a
have
good
it?
point.
Right.
Well, in
If charter
fact, a
schools
lot
good.
of people are moving from Jackson to Madison County to
Now-
go to school.
Now check
Right.
this out. Now, charter schools in Jackson get to pick the students they get.
Right?
And the
Right.
charter schools in Jackson are
Handpicked.
all handpicked, but they're still D and F rated.
Right.
Now, how is it that you're still D and F rated,
Rated.
and you get to pick the children
Hello.
you want,
Yes.
and take the money from public schools to teach them?
Well, you know there's an excuse for that, right? I've encountered this excuse. The
Right.
excuse for that is because they were in Jackson Public Schools and wasn't right beforehand.
Right.
It wasn't being taught anything. They don't know
Right.
how to read and write, so we got to catch them up and knowing how to read and write.
Councilman, moving a little bit further along
Okay.
because we got some more people here.
Right.
I have a quick question as it relates to procedure, policy, or what you have to do in order to close a road, close a bridge.
That's right.
I'm leading to what happened over off Livingston Road near Grove Park.
That's right.
You blocked the access, didn't give people notice, didn't have any meetings or anything as it relates to that. How and why was that road closed in the manner that it was?
Well, first, answer your first question before there. The city council is the only body that can close a street. The
Okay.
city council was never afforded that to do so. And then secondly, it was closed because the Public Works Department received a letter from Canadian National Railroad requesting the closure, and they sent a letter back in approval. And that was done outside of the legal framework and ability of the administration. And so we feel that the city council, well, since y'all did it, y'all need to open back up. And so
Sounds good to me.
Right. You know, again, we got to go to court. We just got to go to court, but we cannot allow for destabilization to happen because what's happening, they're destabilizing predominantly black communities. If they close that one, they're going to move to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, further destabilizing our community. And we can't allow for the hands of power to use people within the power structure to destabilize our own people.
Well,
So how-
you have to understand my whole problem with it. In addition to that, it wasn't done through the legal means.
Correct.
But every other thing that you do, you have to go through the legal
Right,
process.
right.
So why didn't this have to go through the legal process?
Right, and to the citizens in that area, for Grove Park, or all those communities in that area, they've been disenfranchised because you had council people fighting to close it, and now we just recently fought to get the money back so it's not gonna close, but we shouldn't be having internal fights.
Right,
It's closed.
right,
It's closed.
right.
It's
It is
concrete.
absolutely
Or the overpasses, so I'm talking about the golf course. There was some
No,
folks who were trying
no,
to
I'm
close the golf
talking,
course.
I'm talking about the street itself.
Yeah, the street's
I'm not-
closed off.
Right, so what has to happen to undo that?
Well, now, we passed an order approving the administration to open it up. Now the administration must in turn go to the executive powers of selecting, the engineering to re-engineer it, give it the railroad and open it up. So
How
now,
soon will that take place?
well, you know, I can't be on the line. for
Right, I'm about to say,
That's
you
outside
can't
of my-
control any of
I'm
that.
saying,
But
How
we-
soon has the implementation of that process begun, is the
And
question.
as soon as I get I know that hasn't started yet.
Okay.
You know, and as soon as we can get, you know, some interest from that to do that, I know we're probably gonna go to court, because the railroad is threatening to take us to court now.
Right.
And so we have a legal battle, but if, I'm all for it. You know, we
Well-
stood firm on all the battles we fought so
Right.
far.
And I'm not counsel for the, for the city council, but if it's something that you know may likely go to litigation, yeah, I would recommend.
Yeah, you know,
So-
I
So
wrote down that.
Right.
we're gonna go on
Right.
down, you
Right.
stay in the chair,
Right.
but
Right.
left, and we wanna welcome
We
him
wanna
back.
welcome-
Reverend Slaughter, say hello to the listening audience tonight.
Hello, and certainly I want to thank you, Ms. Martin, again for allowing me to come back on the show as well. Even you are host, co-host with you as well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for returning, and I will say that was, you know, that show ahead of us. They got it all rowdy up in here, and we couldn't get a good,
Yeah.
a good start. So hopefully we done caught our breath.
Yeah, that's why I
Get-
said to them, you know, lack of information brings about wild imagination. When people don't really have the fact, they just say anything, you know.
Well, and the thing is, there was an objection made to it, and it went through the legal process,
And
and there was a decision made, and you are on the ballot as a candidate for Ward
6.
6, and that's the end of it at this point.
The end of it, I said to, I got in this race because I was God led to get in this race. I didn't look for any favors. I didn't look for anybody to do anything under the table. I've earned the right to run in this race.
That's right. You know, we're gonna, like, there been people calling throughout the show, but we're gonna finally take a call tonight. Caller, you are on the air. Do you have a question or comment? Andy, we had trouble last week.
Press that button
With one.
right there. Right. No,
Caller, are you on the air?
Yes. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Hey, Silky.
Hey, Mississippi.
I just had to call in when I heard Reverend Slaughter. I would just like to tell the people about Mr. Slaughter. I know his family. I've been knowing his family for over 40-some years. And Reverend Slaughter, that's in the office now, he's a very honorable person. The man is not going to tell a lie. You know, it's not too many that can get past Silky. And that's the truth. The man lives here in South Jackson. He and his family. He's a good person. And he's running for Ward 6. And he is the kind of people, he is the kind of person that we want for Ward 6. Somebody that can hit the ground running. I know the man. I know his family. And he's an honorable person. Peace out.
Peace
Thank
out, Silky. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Ms. Sylvia.
Well, just, I know you've answered this before, but what kinds of things do you want to see happen in South Jackson?
Well, I really want to see a big change in our Ward 6. One of the things is I would love to see more policing going on in our ward. I would certainly like to see more businesses stay in our ward, as well as new businesses come in as well. I'd love to see our community cleaned up as well.
All right, we
Radio
got
now,
a
caller.
caller. You are on the air. What's your question or comment?
Yes. How are you doing, Miss Crystal?
I am doing fine. How are you doing, Miss Dot?
I had talked in quite some time. We have a very important election coming up, elections coming up. All of the wards have people that are competing for various positions, and my position is this: make sure you know who the council persons are. But always remember that we have just a turnover, just a drastic turnover in elected officials. We got Ward 7, Ward 6. We're going to have new people on the council. So sure that you know that we need to stabilize the city of Jackson, the elected people that we have in office, so they can earn and learn how to run government. If we switch up every year or every 2 years and just keep changing people over and over again, we got a problem. The two people that I think have the most administrative assistance, administrative experience for government is...
Ms. Dot, we're going to end it right there. We're going to end it right there. And I want Mr. Slaughter to have a fair chance to address the listening audience and tell his position. But before we do that, we're going to take one other call. Caller, you are on the air. What's your question or comment?
Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Good evening.
Mississippi, MISSIPPI. The first S stands for Kenny Stokes. The second S stands for my man, Mr. Stamps. And the third S is going to stand for Slaughter. We need those three S's down there with Melvin Priester to make this city go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller.
Well, I have a question for Reverend Slaughter. Reverend Slaughter, you're a dynamic person, been in this community for some time, and I know you had some ramifications as it relates to residency status and that sort of thing. But my question that I'm posing to you is what I pose to most anyone that I ask is running for a office here in the city of Jackson as well as Hinds County in the appropriate area. What's your feeling? What's your thought? How do you feel about charter schools?
Well, let me be honest about you when you ask that question, because I've been with Jackson Public School now for 22 years. I started teaching at Baker Elementary my first 2 years there, and they had a principal by the name of Dr. Merlene Ivy. She and I developed a perfect relationship, and when she actually was forced to retire or to move to another school, I chose to go with her if she would take the transfer. So she chose to just retire. So, and then from there, I wanted to stay in the system. So from there, I started driving school buses. So I started driving school buses in '96. To answer your question, I am totally against charter schools because I know what Jackson Public School is capable of doing. I know the students there. I've been so fortunate to drive school bus so long to when children get on my bus, they say, my daddy say you drove his school bus. My mother say you drove her school bus. Mm-hmm. So, but as an experience, my nephew went to charter school, and his mother shared with me that she did the very best she could by sending him to charter school, but she said she got such a bad experience with her child in charter school, so she hurried up and put him back in Jackson Public School, and now he is actually almost the head of his class.
Oh, wow. Right.
Now that's remarkable.
And that's experience.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Now I have one other question for you, and we're not going to keep you. We're running out of time here. Okay. My next question is related to the first order of business as it relates to Ward 6. What would your first order of business, if you elected, would be?
Not if, when I'm elected. I walk by faith and not by sight.
Right.
All right.
But my first order of business would be is to see the city's budget. And once I actually see the city's budget, then I can actually decide on where do we go from here. I tell people that everybody that's running in Ward 6 race, We have one thing in common. I don't care about where you worked in the city government and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But we have one thing in common, all of us that's running in Ward 6, is none of us having the experience being a city councilman.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm willing, when I'm elected, I'm willing to, number one, be the very best advocate for Ward 6 that they've ever had. And number two, I'm willing to do the very best that I can do as being a city councilman in what we call on-the-job training. I'm ready for it.
Okay.
When I started pastoring 24 years ago, had no experience at all.
Right.
But I took what they gave me and I made what I could make out of it,
Right.
and I'm still successful.
And I must say, you have done a remarkable job down there in South Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Your church is a wonderful church. You Crane
New Caney Creek.
I can't pronounce all those C's and R's.
Yeah.
You have done a magnificent job down there at your one church.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you for coming today as well.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. I guess I kind of want to, either or both of you can answer this question, because I know that South Jackson, really all over the city of Jackson, we have a lot of dilapidated houses. And people want to know, why does it take so long to get the houses torn down?
First, well, that's a great question. But tearing down the houses, that's important in the right area, but we need to be doing more rehabbing of houses. Because
Okay.
right now it costs us between $4,000 and $6,000 to tear a house down. But we only have to do this because of neglect from a property owner. And every time I tear a house down, that's money I could be paying a police officer. That's money I could be paying a firefighter. It's the same pot of money that we're doing these things from. So you have to make those balancing decisions. Like, okay, I got police officers, I got fire, I got quality of life, I got all these different services I'm trying to provide. How much will you allocate towards that? Because it's all the same pot of money.
Well, aren't you able to assess the owner of the property for the amount that the city has to pay out in tearing down a dilapidated house?
Right, but then you're going to wait a couple of years to get that back if they pay it. And if they don't pay, the city just gets ownership of it. So that's how the city acquires so many properties, because we put a lien on the property owner doesn't pay their taxes, then the city gets ownership of this property. And now that's how the city is picking up property all over town, because we assess the lien to it. So, but that's money, that's right now money that I'm hoping to get back in the future.
True. And you have the opportunity as the owner to determine what happens to the property.
That's right.
I know one of the things that I have to admire, I saw Councilman at that time, he was Supervisor Stokes did.
Mm-hmm.
He took a property with a house on it.
Mm-hmm.
He acquired it from the Secretary of State's
That's
office. He got one of those. I didn't think I'd ever see one of those in my lifetime. I said, you see them on TV, but I never saw one in person until that day when you had the big boulder, right? Wrecking ball. Wrecking ball. It was the wrecking ball, and it actually went boom, slam right into the house and tore it down.
I wish, supervisors have both legislative and executive power. And if I had a degree of executive power to be able to put my finger on something and pave a street like a supervisor can almost do.
Not quite.
Almost,
they may think they can, but being advising them from a legal perspective, no, they don't really have that.
Almost, but they have a little more degree than we do, of selection and things like that. But yeah, he did, and we can do more of that. But we need to rehab the properties as well. I think we're tearing down some houses now that we could be rehabbing and people could live in. So
that's a good point.
We have to make sure that, because when you have a vacant lot, then the property taxes goes down. Now your overall tax base goes down as well.
It absolutely does. And when the city owns it, like you said, you don't get tax money. But one of the things I understand they did was use it for green space and growing crops. And so. And
while you mentioned Councilman Stokes, everybody keep Councilman Stokes in your prayers. He's been under the weather lately. So definitely keep him in your prayers. He's been taking care of his whole family almost. His mother passed away.
His brother passed.
His wife was sick. So so now
keep Judge Stokes in your prayers too.
Let him rest. And let him rest for a couple of weeks.
After all of that, he was here. Was it last week or the week before?
I think it was last week.
Okay. Well, he's all the time. So thank you for reminding us of that. And Handy is telling us that our time is out for tonight. This has been your Friday, April the 21st edition of Talk of Town. This is Crystal Wise Martin, and I appreciate my guest co-host, Mr.
Larry White.
All right. Thank you all and have a good one.